Let me tell you a story of heroes. For there are those who believe the history of Albion is a history of heroes.
Hi, I'm Gav from CBG, and I'm joined by Editor-in-Chief of Official Xbox Magazine, John Hicks, who's just been playing Fable Legends. What's that like? Any good?
It's really good, actually. I wasn't massively convinced by it when it was first announced, because it's very different from normal Fable games, which are normally like kind of single-player RPG exploration style. This is kind of co-op, kind of combat-focused thing. So it's basically 4v1. There's a team of 4 heroes, and then there's and they're kind of going along in a kind of third-person Fable action thing, and then there's the villain who is kind of got a kind of top-down isometric thing.
Okay.
You can kind of see where they're going. You decide what enemies they're going to put in their way. You can kind of like trigger traps and place mines and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And basically just got to whittle them down as they go along. And I played as the villain. It was really good fun. Just kind of just sat there, kind of messing with people and taking them down. It was really good.
You just played it as the villain, not as the like 4-player people. It doesn't look to me like a Fable game at all.
It's very recognisably that kind of Albion art style and that kind of fantasy and that kind of stuff. We haven't, there aren't any kind of fart jokes or chicken kicking or anything like that in what we've seen. Yet. Although I am assured it is in there. There is, they do have the kind of hub towns and all that kind of stuff. So you can definitely do all that stuff. And actually, I think you don't even have to play the kind of like 4v1 thing. I mean, you can kind of like sub in AI for those things, right. I believe.
But it seems more like it'd be like a good mode in a full Fable game now. So I don't know how they're going to make it like a full thing.
Well, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I'll admit I haven't quite caught up on how they're going to try to distinguish it, but it feels like there will be an element of a kind of full Fable game. Like, you don't have to go in and do kind of like a versus multiplayer thing. Like, you can just kind of play through, and it's like, right, it's a co-op Fable game,
right,
where you can kind of go through and you're messing with, Wolverines or whatever. But there's also the option to have like a human kind of come in and mess around with it, and it's a bit like, I really like that in things like Left 4 Dead 2 and that kind of stuff. Like when and this is like a kind of slightly more tactical way of doing it, and it's also like on console as well. I know when they announced it at Gamescom, you kind of got the impression that the villain had to be like a tablet or something like that. But
that'd be good. Like, it'd be almost like Zombie U on Wii U, where you could like actually touch and select bits and bobs to do.
Yeah, that was something they were looking at. They might do it, but I think it just went down quite badly at Gamescom. Everyone just. It was just one of those things like the internet decided that they hated it because they didn't want to use a tablet, they wanted to use a controller.
Right.
So Lionhead, very specific, is like, you can do it with the controller, you can definitely do it with the controller, you might be able to do it with the tablet as well. We will see where that one goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually really good fun, really interesting, and because it's a human intellect behind it all, I think it's going to be much more replayable. It's going to be like that Left 4 Dead thing where you can actually go through the same thing time and time again, and it's always going to be a bit more interesting, and there's going to be a better sense that you've actually like achieved something and defeated someone if you're the heroes and you get through. Although I should stress, as the bad guy, I totally wiped them all out, and I felt pretty good about that.
So that was Fable Legends. You've watched YouTube videos before, you know how this works. Hit subscribe and you can check out all our other E3 content.